Waking up on a boat on Halong Bay before everyone else does is absolutely awesome. Morning. Unfortunately, I didn't get up early enough to see the sunrise, but that's because I had an awesome night's sleep. I slept like a baby, but I did get up late enough that the crew had already made coffee, and I just sat out on deck and watched the boats go by. Once everybody was up and about, we all went to the dining table, and the crew had prepared for us an awesome Western-style breakfast. After we ate, we cruised around for a little while. We stopped on an island that everybody kind of hopped off on and did some climbing. I just chose to sit there and drink more coffee because it was just a nice, relaxing day. As we head back to shore, I decided to film some of the debris that is floating around in the bay. There is tons of garbage floating around that has either washed down from the mountains because of the rainy season or has come in from the ocean off of ships, and it all just kind of seems to collect here. I don't know if it's because of the karsts or what, but there is a lot of debris floating around here, which is kind of depressing. When we got back to shore, we hopped on our bus and went back to Hanoi. The hotel that we had stayed at previously was holding some of our luggage, so we picked that up, and while we were there, it gave me enough time to go out and pick up one of my favorite desserts from a couple nights previous. Okay, this is seriously like the best dessert I've found here. We found it on a food tour. You gotta check this out. Toasted coconut, ice cream, pandan rice. So the green is warm, the ice cream is obviously cold, and the toasted coconut is crunchy, and it is delicious. This was 23,000 dong, which is like, I don't know off the top of my head, like $1 or something. Seriously, they're awesome. We spent the rest of the day wandering around Hanoi again, and in the evening we hopped an overnight train to Hue, which is about 20 miles northwest of Da Nang. On the train in our same car, there was actually another tour just like ours that was with us, and between our two parties, we cleaned them out of beer. They couldn't keep it cold and get it to us quick enough. I really enjoyed our tour of the Imperial Citadel. This complex is absolutely enormous, and I'm surprised that any of it is even standing after the number of wars that have happened over the years. This was built in like 1803, I believe, and it was kind of designed as reunifying Vietnam from past wars, and it was designed after the Forbidden City in Beijing, so it's got a really Chinese influence to it. The wall around the whole citadel is like 6 miles long and 6 feet thick, and on the other side there is a moat. When you pass through the main gates, you can still see the scrapes along the wall where tanks drove in because they could just barely fit. And everywhere you look, there are little bullet holes, and tour guides are still finding bullets laying in the grass to this day. Of the 160 buildings that were originally here, there's only 10 that survived, and those are all being rebuilt and reconstructed. Touring the pagoda and the nearby royal burial grounds is very interesting, but what I found the most interesting about the whole thing was actually just a car. The car in particular is the one that can be seen in the back of the Malcolm Brown photo of the monk who set himself at a busy Saigon intersection in 1963. Wang Duc set himself in protest of the persecution of Buddhists by the South Vietnamese government. Although there are colorized versions of this now, I had never seen them until after I had been there, and for some reason it really just kind of struck me odd to see that the car was blue, and I don't know why that was such a shocking thing. After a long day of wandering around a bunch of touristy sites, we went back to our hotel in Hue and decided to check out a night market, but unfortunately we got caught in another downpour, so we sought shelter on the second floor balcony of this restaurant called Hot Tuna, which actually had really good appetizers and really nice drinks. We just sat there and watched everybody run from the rain. The next morning, we hopped in our van and we took the high van pass down to Hoi An, which is like 25 miles. There's actually a cave or a tunnel rather that you can take right through the mountain, but that's no fun because it's just a tunnel. So we took the high van pass, which is pretty high up in the mountains and kind of hard to see stuff if it's raining at all, which it usually is. Now, when we were in Hoi An, I did a lot of relaxing. I did a lot of sitting around, drinking coffee and drinking beer, and not filming nearly as much as I should have. One of the first places we went to was called Oodles of Noodles, and this is more of a trade school, if you will. It's designed for people that have had really poor upbringings or extremely poor and really don't have anywhere they're going to go in life. And they teach people how to cook, how to wait tables, how to do all the things that happen in the service industry in hotels and restaurants. And I was really impressed with what these kids had learned. Having been in the service industry for like 20 years myself, they were teaching them all the right things in all the right ways. In fact, they were actually teaching us how to make these rice noodles, which are really fidgety and futzy to mess with. It's one of those things where it's a fine balance between speed and accuracy. You are probably better off doing it with speed, but you can't get the speed down until you have the accuracy. And at some point, they kind of cross, and it seems like it all just falls into place. This guy from our tour was brave and raised his hand when they asked for a volunteer. So he did this in front of all of us while we were kind of half cheering him on, half teasing him a little bit. But he did a really good job, I thought. Once everybody took their chance at making noodles, they collected the noodles, sent them back to the kitchen, and the chefs prepared us lunch. I'm not sure if they used the noodles we made or if they used noodles that they made. Ours were pretty ugly and not very effective, but you know, they're noodles. After making noodles, we monkeyed around town for a while, and by evening time, when it was time to eat, we stopped at a banh mi sandwich place, which Anthony Bourdain ate at one time. I got the Anthony Bourdain special, and it was pretty good. I honestly thought what I had in Saigon was better, but you know, to each their own. After that, went back to the hotel and honestly just sat there and drank beer on my balcony. Just watched the traffic go by. It was awesome. As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to go down and check out the G Adventures link. They have something like 650 different tours of all different styles, and I know there's one out there for you. So go look and see if you can find one.